Billionaire CEO loses a bet, forced to marry a black single dad. What happens next shocks all. The Manhattan boardroom of Harrington Industries buzzed with tension as Cordelia Cora Harrington slammed her palm on the mahogany table. At 31, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed CEO had built her late grandfather's company into a multi-billion-dollar empire, and she wasn't about to let anyone, especially not her conniving board members, tell her what to do. Marriage? She scoffed, her voice cutting through the room like ice. You're actually suggesting I need to marry to maintain control of my own company? Board Chairman Reginald Pemberton, a 70-year-old relic who'd been gunning for her position since she'd inherited it 5 years ago, smiled smugly. The bylaws are clear, Miss Harrington. By your 32nd birthday, you must be married, or controlling interest reverts to the board. Your grandfather was quite traditional. My grandfather was a sexist dinosaur, Cora retorted, earning gasps from several board members. Her CFO and only ally, Tamika Washington, a brilliant black woman who'd risen through the ranks, tried to interject. Perhaps we could challenge the legality. No need, Cora interrupted, a dangerous glint in her eye. I'll make you a bet, Pemberton. I'll get married within 6 months. But if I do, you and your cronies resign from the board immediately. Pemberton laughed. You? The Ice Queen of Wall Street? You haven't dated anyone in 3 years. You'd marry a stranger just to keep control? I'd marry a homeless person off the street if it meant getting rid of you, Cora said coldly. Interesting, Pemberton mused. Then let's make this fun. I choose who you marry. The room went silent. Even Tamika looked shocked. Excuse me? Cora's voice was deadly quiet. You said you'd marry anyone. So prove it. I choose your husband. You marry him within 6 months and stay married for at least 1 year, and we'll resign. But if you refuse or divorce before the year is up, you forfeit everything. Cora's lawyer, Harrison Blake, immediately protested. This is absurd and likely illegal. I accept, Cora said, stunning everyone. Cora, no, Tamika whispered urgently. But Cora's pride had been triggered. She'd never lost a bet in her life, and she wasn't about to start now. Draw up the contracts, Harrison. Make it ironclad. Mr. Pemberton chooses someone, I marry them, and these fossils disappear forever. Pemberton's smile was predatory. Oh, I already have someone in mind. Someone who'll make you eat your words about marrying anyone. 3 days later, Cora stood outside a community center in the Bronx, staring at the address Pemberton had given her with barely concealed rage. The building was run down but clean, with children's artwork covering the windows and the sound of laughter echoing from inside. This has to be a joke, she muttered to Tamika, who'd insisted on coming along. Girl, you should have listened to me. This whole bet is insane. Before Cora could respond, the door burst open and a little girl, maybe 7 years old, ran straight into Cora's legs. Oops, sorry, lady. The child looked up with the biggest brown eyes Cora had ever seen, her hair in 2 perfect puffballs tied with yellow ribbons. Destiny, you need to watch where you're... A deep voice called out, and then he appeared. The man was tall, at least 6'2", with rich dark skin, close-cropped hair showing hints of gray at the temples, and arms that suggested he worked out, but not obsessively. He wore a simple t-shirt covered in finger paint and jeans that had seen better days. But it was his eyes that caught Cora's attention. Warm amber, like expensive whiskey, filled with kindness and exhaustion. I'm so sorry, he said, scooping up the little girl. Destiny gets excited when it's art day. I'm Jameson Thorne. I run the community center. You're Jameson Thorne? Cora couldn't hide her surprise. She'd expected, well, she didn't know what she'd expected, but not this gentle giant with paint-stained clothes and a daughter who looked like sunshine personified. That's me. And you are? Cordelia Harrington. I believe Reginald Pemberton told you I'd be coming? The warmth in Jameson's eyes immediately turned to wariness. Right. The billionaire who needs a husband. He set Destiny down. Baby, go back inside. Ms. Rodriguez is starting story time. Bye, pretty lady. Destiny waved at Cora before running back inside. Once she was gone, Jameson's expression hardened. Let's get one thing straight, Ms. Harrington. I don't know what game you and Pemberton are playing, but I'm only doing this for the community center. He promised to fund our programs for 10 years if I agreed to this insane arrangement. He's blackmailing you too. Cora was genuinely surprised. Not blackmail, bribery. This center is the only safe place for kids in this neighborhood. We provide after-school programs, meals, tutoring. Without Pemberton's funding, we close. So yeah, I'll marry you. But don't expect me to pretend to like it. His hostility should have annoyed her, but instead, Cora found herself respecting his honesty. Fair enough. I don't expect anything from you except legal marriage for 1 year. We can live separately, minimal contact. No, Jameson interrupted. Destiny's been through enough. Her mom died 2 years ago. If I'm doing this, we're doing it right. You move in with us. We act like a real family in front of her, and she never knows this is fake. Those are my terms. You expect me to move to the Bronx? Live in... Cora caught herself before saying something insulting. In our small apartment in a neighborhood you've probably never set foot in before? Yes, that's exactly what I expect. You wanted to prove you'd marry anyone? Prove it by actually living like anyone. Tamika coughed to hide a laugh. He's got a point, Cora. Cora stared at this man, this single father who was willing to marry a stranger for his community, who put his daughter's emotional well-being above his own comfort, who looked at her like she was just another privileged person playing games with people's lives. Fine, she heard herself say. I'll move in. We'll play happy family. 1 year. 1 year, Jameson agreed. But if you hurt my daughter, if you make her feel like she's not enough, deal's off, and I don't care what it costs me. I wouldn't... Cora started, offended. You don't know what you would or wouldn't do yet, Jameson said quietly. You've probably never been around kids. Destiny is special. Autism spectrum, high-functioning but sensitive. She'll get attached to you. When you leave after a year, it'll break her heart. But that's the price I'm paying for keeping this center open. Just try not to make it worse than it has to be. The weight of what she was doing hit Cora for the first time. This wasn't just about her and her company. There was a child involved. A child who'd already lost her mother. I'll be careful with her, Cora said softly. Jameson studied her for a long moment, then nodded. We should probably get married quickly, before either of us comes to our senses. Hello, my Stop Racism family. Thank you for tuning in today. Before we dive deeper into this beautiful love story, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your country and state in the comments below. Also, I'd love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the story so far? Do you believe love can truly conquer prejudice? Let us know in the comments. We love reading them. And trust me, your words motivate us to keep making these videos. Let's make this video reach at least 50 comments. Your support means the world to us, and it drives us to create even more meaningful content for you. So don't forget to comment, share, and keep spreading love. 2 weeks later, Cora stood in a courthouse wearing a simple white dress. Tamika had insisted on some tradition, waiting for her soon-to-be husband. Her mother, Vivian Harrington, sat in the front row, looking like she'd swallowed a lemon. I can't believe you're doing this, Vivian hissed. Marrying a community center director, a single father. What will people say? Hopefully they'll say I won the bet and kept my company. Cora replied tersely. The door opened, and Jameson walked in, wearing a navy suit that fit him perfectly, highlighting his broad shoulders. Destiny skipped beside him in a yellow dress, throwing flower petals from a basket with enthusiastic abandon. Ms. Cora, Destiny ran up to her. You look like a princess. Are you going to be my new mommy? The room went silent. Jameson's face was stricken. Destiny, we talked about this. It's okay, Cora interrupted, surprising herself by kneeling down to Destiny's level. I'm going to be your dad's wife, which makes me your stepmom. Is that okay with you? Destiny considered this seriously, then smiled. Will you braid my hair? Daddy tries, but he's not very good. Destiny. Jameson looked mortified, but Cora found herself smiling. I'd be happy to braid your hair. The ceremony was quick, efficient. When the judge said, you may kiss the bride, Jameson hesitated. We have to, Cora whispered. For appearances. He leaned down, and their lips met briefly. It should have been nothing, a business transaction sealed with a perfunctory kiss. But the moment their lips touched, Cora felt electricity shoot through her entire body. From Jameson's startled expression, he'd felt it too. They pulled apart quickly, both avoiding eye contact. Yay, Daddy and Miss Cora are married. Destiny cheered, oblivious to the tension. Outside the courthouse, photographers were waiting. Pemberton's doing, no doubt. The headlines would be vicious. Ice Queen melts for single dad, or something equally nauseating. Jameson's friend, DeAndre Williams, who'd served as his best man, pulled him aside. "You sure about this, Jay? She doesn't exactly look like she's slumming it for fun." "It's for the center," Jameson said firmly. "1 year, and we're funded for 10. DeAndre's wife, Shanice, who ran the center's kitchen, studied Cora with sharp eyes. "That woman's never cooked a meal in her life. How's she gonna survive in your apartment?" "She'll adapt or she won't," Jameson shrugged. "Not my problem." But as he watched Cora kneel again to accept a dandelion from Destiny, her expensive dress getting dirty, her perfectly manicured hands gentle with his daughter, he wondered if maybe he'd underestimated her. Cora arrived at Jameson's apartment building with 12 suitcases, her personal assistant Kelly Chen, and a look of barely concealed horror. "This is it?" Kelly whispered. "Should I call the security team?" "It's fine, Kelly. You can go." The apartment was on the 4th floor of a walk-up. No elevator. By the 3rd trip carrying suitcases, Cora was sweating through her designer blouse. "Need help?" Mrs. Elena Rodriguez from next door asked in accented English, her knowing smile suggesting she knew exactly who Cora was. "I'm fine, thank you." "You're Jameson's new wife, the rich lady?" "I'm Cora." "I'm Elena. I watch Destiny sometimes. That little girl is an angel. You better be good to her." "I will be." "And to Jameson. That man has been through enough." Before Cora could respond, Elena disappeared back into her apartment. The Thorne apartment was small but immaculate. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a combined living room and kitchen. Every surface was covered with Destiny's artwork, photos of a beautiful black woman who must have been her mother, and books. So many books. "Your room," Jameson said, showing her to what had clearly been his bedroom. "I'll take the couch." "I can't take your bed. You're doing this for your company. I'm doing it for my community. The least I can do is give you the bed." His tone was matter-of-fact, not hostile, but not warm either. Destiny bounded in. "Miss Cora, look, I drew you." She held up a picture of 3 stick figures, one tall and brown, one small and brown, and one tall with yellow hair. "That's our family." Cora's heart clenched unexpectedly. "It's beautiful, Destiny. Can I keep it? Really, you want it?" "Of course." As Destiny ran to get tape to hang it on the wall, Jameson said quietly, "Don't do that." "Do what?" "Make her think you care if you don't. She's been through enough." "What makes you think I don't care?" He gave her a look that said everything. She was a billionaire playing house. He was a single dad trying to keep his world together. They were from different planets. That night, Cora lay in Jameson's bed. It smelled like him, sandalwood and something uniquely male. Listening to him read Destiny a bedtime story through the thin walls. His voice was different with his daughter, soft, patient, full of love. "Daddy, is Miss Cora going to leave like Mommy did?" Destiny's small voice asked. "Mommy didn't want to leave, baby. She got sick. But Miss Cora won't get sick?" I don't know, Destiny. But she's here now. I like her. She smells pretty and she smiled at my picture." "Yeah, she did. Do you like her, Daddy?" There was a long pause. "I'm trying to, baby. I'm trying." Living with the Thornes was like entering an alien world for Cora. She woke at 5 a.m. to Jameson making breakfast, got Destiny ready for school, learning to braid her hair from YouTube tutorials, and then tried to work from the small apartment while Jameson was at the community center. "You don't have to do this," Jameson said one morning, finding her struggling with Destiny's hair. "I've been managing." "Barely," Cora interrupted, finally getting the elastic to hold. "When's the last time you got more than 5 hours of sleep? That's not your concern. For the next year, it is. We're supposed to be a family, remember?" The word family hung between them, loaded with meaning neither wanted to acknowledge. At Harrington Industries, the mockery was relentless, but subtle. Employees whispered, board members smirked, and Pemberton looked positively gleeful every time he saw her. "How's married life?" he asked during one board meeting. "Adjusting to your new circumstances?" "Wonderfully," Cora lied smoothly. "Jameson and Destiny are delightful. And the neighborhood? Quite a change from the Upper East Side. It's refreshingly real," she said, surprising herself by meaning it. "People actually know their neighbors' names." Tamika pulled her aside after the meeting. "You look tired." Destiny had nightmares last night about her mom, And you were up with her? Jameson was at the center dealing with a burst pipe. Someone had to. Cora stopped, realizing how domestic she sounded. Oh my God. Tamika breathed. You're actually starting to care. Don't be ridiculous. I'm maintaining appearances. But that night, when Destiny had another nightmare and crawled into bed with her instead of waking her father, Cora held the little girl and sang the only lullaby she remembered from her own childhood. Destiny fell asleep, whispering, "You're nice, Miss Cora. Not like the mean lady Daddy thought you'd be." "What mean lady?" "The one Mr. Pemberton told Daddy about. The ice lady who only cares about money." Cora's blood boiled, but she kept her voice gentle. "I'm not always nice, sweetheart, but I'll try to be nice to you and your daddy. Promise?" "Promise." In the living room, Jameson stood frozen, having heard the entire exchange. He'd come home to find his daughter in bed with Cora, being comforted by the woman he'd assumed had no heart. Maybe he'd been wrong about her, or maybe she was just a very good actress. Time would tell. How's this story hitting you so far? Tell us in the comments. If you're loving it, type 1. If not, type 0. We want to know what you think. 6 weeks into the marriage, Cora arrived at the community center to find chaos. Parents were shouting, children were crying, and Jameson stood in the middle trying to maintain calm. "What's happening?" she asked DeAndre. "City's shutting us down. Some violation about the kitchen not being up to code. It's BS. Someone paid them off." Cora's eyes narrowed. This had Pemberton written all over it. "How much to fix it?" she asked Jameson. $50,000 we don't have. Insurance won't cover it, and the emergency fund is tapped out from the roof repair last month. Without thinking, Cora pulled out her phone and transferred the money from her personal account. Done. The center went silent. "You can't just..." Jameson started. "I just did. Accept it or don't, but those kids need this place. We can't take your charity," DeAndre said firmly. "It's not charity. I'm married to the director. This affects my family too." The word family came out naturally this time, and Jameson noticed. Shanice was the first to break the tension. "Well, if she's family, then it's not charity. It's what family does." As people dispersed to spread the news that the center was saved, Jameson pulled Cora aside. "Why did you do that?" "Because Pemberton's trying to break you to get to me. I won't let him use these kids as pawns." "So, this is about winning?" "No," Cora said, and meant it. "This is about Destiny having her after-school program. This is about Mrs. Rodriguez's grandson having somewhere safe to go. This is about you being a good person." Jameson finished softly. "I misjudged you. You judged me exactly right. I was the Ice Queen. Maybe I still am. But..." She looked around the center, at the children's artwork, at Destiny playing with her friends. "Maybe I don't want to be anymore." That night, Jameson cooked dinner. Real dinner. Not the takeout Cora usually ordered. As they ate as a family, Destiny chattering about her day, Cora felt something she hadn't experienced since her grandfather died. Belonging. "Ms. Cora?" Destiny asked suddenly. "Are you happy?" "Right now? Yes, sweetheart. I'm very happy." "Good. Daddy's happy too." He smiles more now. Jameson choked on his water. "Destiny. It's true. Mrs. Elena said so." Later, after Destiny was asleep, Jameson and Cora sat on the fire escape, sharing a bottle of wine she'd brought from her old life. "She's not wrong," Jameson admitted. "I have been happier. It's nice having someone to share the load with, even if it's temporary." "What if..." Cora started, then stopped. "What if what?" "Nothing. Just what if." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the city lights, both thinking about possibilities neither was ready to voice. 3 months in, Cora had to attend Harrington Industries' annual charity gala. She'd managed to avoid most social events, but this one was mandatory. "I need you to come with me," she told Jameson over breakfast. "To your fancy party?" "I don't think so. You're my husband. People are starting to wonder why you never appear at company events." "Let them wonder." "Daddy, I want to see Miss Cora in a princess dress," Destiny piped up. "It's not..." Jameson started. "Please, Daddy. You'd look handsome in a tuxedo." And that's how Jameson found himself in a rented tux, standing at the entrance of the Waldorf Astoria, feeling completely out of place. "You look amazing," Cora said, and she meant it. The tux fit him perfectly, emphasizing his height and broad shoulders. "You look..." He paused, taking in her emerald green gown that brought out her eyes. Like you belong here. So do you. We both know that's not true. Inside, the stares were immediate and obvious. Interracial couples weren't unusual in New York. But Cordelia Harrington with a black man from the Bronx? That was gossip gold. So, you're the husband, Conrad Ashford, one of the board members said, with barely concealed disdain. Quite the Cinderella story. Actually, Jameson replied smoothly, I think I'm more of the beast. You know, the one who teaches the princess there's more to life than ballrooms. Cora hid her smile behind her champagne glass. Vivian Harrington was worse. So, Jameson, what exactly do you do? I run a community center that helps underprivileged kids. How? Noble. And your daughter? Mixed children can have such difficulties. My daughter is perfect, Jameson said, his voice dangerously quiet. Of course, I didn't mean. Yes, you did, Cora interrupted. Mother, if you insult my stepdaughter again, we're leaving. Your stepdaughter? Cordelia, you can't be serious. Deadly serious. Destiny is brilliant, kind, and artistic. She's everything you'd value if you could see past your prejudice. The confrontation was drawing attention. Pemberton approached with a malicious smile. Trouble in paradise already? No trouble, Jameson said, putting his arm around Cora's waist. Just setting boundaries with family. Something I'm sure you understand. Indeed, though I wonder how long this charade can last. A year is such a long time to pretend. Who's pretending? Cora asked, leaning into Jameson. I've never been happier. To prove her point, she turned and kissed Jameson. Not a quick peck like at their wedding, but a real kiss. The room seemed to stop, everyone watching. When they pulled apart, Jameson's eyes were dark with something that wasn't anger. We should go, he said roughly. They left early, driving home in silence, until Jameson pulled over. You can't do that, he said. Do what? Kiss me like that when it doesn't mean anything. Who says it doesn't mean anything? Cora, don't. We both know what this is. You needed a husband, I needed funding. In 9 months, you'll file for divorce and go back to your real life. What if I don't want to? Don't want to what? Go back. What if I want this to be my real life? Jameson stared at her. You don't mean that. You're just caught up in playing house. Is that what you think? That I'm playing? I wake up at 5 a.m. to help with Destiny. I learned to cook, badly, but still. I've spent more time at your community center than my own office. If I'm playing, I'm pretty committed to the game. Why? His voice was desperate. Why would someone like you want someone like me? Because you see me, Cora said simply. Not the CEO, not the heiress, just me. And because when I'm with you and Destiny, I'm the version of myself I actually like. Jameson kissed her then. Really kissed her, pulling her across the console into his lap. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he said, This complicates everything. Everything's already complicated. What's one more thing? 4 months into the marriage, Destiny overheard something she shouldn't have. Cora was on a conference call in the bedroom, not realizing Destiny had come home early from school with a stomach ache. No, Harrison. The marriage is perfectly stable. Yes, I know there are only 8 months left. Yes, I'm aware of what happens after the year is up. Destiny ran to the community center, tears streaming down her face. She found her father in his office. She's leaving? Destiny sobbed. Miss Cora's leaving in 8 months. You lied. You said she was staying. Jameson's heart broke. He'd known this moment would come, but not so soon. Baby, let me explain. No, you both lied. She doesn't love us. She's just pretending. DeAndre heard the commotion and took Destiny to the art room to calm down, leaving Jameson to deal with the fallout. When Cora arrived at the center an hour later, having discovered Destiny had overheard her call, she found Jameson packing up his office. What are you doing? Ending this. I won't let you hurt her anymore. Jameson, please, let me explain. Explain what? That our daughter just found out her stepmother is temporary. That everything she believed about our family is a lie. Our daughter? Cora's voice broke on the words. A slip of the tongue. No, it wasn't. She is our daughter. Maybe not biologically mine, but in every way that matters. Stop, just stop. You can't play with people's hearts like this, Cora. We're not a business deal. You're right. You're not. You stopped being a business deal the first time Destiny called me at work because she had a nightmare and needed to hear my voice. You stopped being a business deal when you held my hand during that parent-teacher conference. This stopped being fake the moment I realized I love you both. Jameson froze. You don't mean that. I love you, Cora said, tears running down her face. I love your strength, your dedication, your terrible dad jokes. I love how you make mac and cheese from scratch because Destiny doesn't like the boxed kind. I love how you sing in the shower when you think no one can hear. I love you, Jameson Thorne. Cora. And I love Destiny. I love her curiosity, her art, her fearlessness. I love being her stepmother. I love our life together, even if it's in a tiny apartment with one bathroom and neighbors who play music too loud. Forget the year. Forget the bet. Forget Pemberton and the board and everything else. I want this. I want us. Forever. Before Jameson could respond, Destiny appeared in the doorway. You mean it? She asked in a small voice. You want to stay? Cora knelt down. More than anything in the world. Destiny threw herself into Cora's arms. I love you too, Mommy Cora. The word mommy broke something in Cora. She held Destiny tight, sobbing. Jameson joined them, wrapping his arms around both his girls. We need to talk about this, he said, but he was smiling through his own tears. Talk later, Destiny declared. Family hug now. The next morning, Cora marched into the board meeting with a determination that made even Pemberton nervous. I'm calling off the bet, she announced. The room erupted. You can't, Pemberton shouted. You'll lose everything. I don't care. I'm not using my family as pawns in your game anymore. Your family. Vivian, who was attending as a shareholder, laughed. That man and his child are not your family. Yes, they are. More family than you've ever been, Mother. If you forfeit, Harrison Blake warned, you lose the company immediately. Then I lose it. Have you lost your mind? Tamika asked. No, I've found it. I've found what actually matters. This is absurd, Pemberton gloated. All this drama and you're giving up anyway? I knew you couldn't last the year. Oh, I'm lasting the year, Cora said. I'm lasting a lifetime. I'm staying married to Jameson because I love him, not because of any bet. Which means you still have to honor your end when the year is up. But you just said, I said I'm calling off the bet as my motivation. I'm staying married because I want to, not because I have to. The contract stands. Harrison reviewed the paperwork. She's right. The contract states she must marry and stay married for a year. It doesn't specify her motivation must remain the bet. Pemberton's face turned purple. This is cheating. No, Cora said. This is love. Something you clearly don't understand. She turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Pemberton? Every dirty trick you've pulled. Trying to shut down the community center, the photographers, the private investigators. I have documentation. Continue harassing my family, and I'll bury you in lawsuits. Outside the boardroom, Tamika caught up with her. Are you really in love with him? Desperately. And the company? If I lose it, I lose it. I'll have something more valuable. Who are you, and what have you done with Cordelia Harrington? She fell in love with a single dad from the Bronx and became someone better. That evening, Cora arrived home to find the apartment full of people. DeAndre, Shanice, Mrs. Rodriguez, parents and kids from the community center. What's going on? She asked. Jameson stood in the middle of the room, wearing the suit from their wedding. Cordelia Harrington, you married me in a courthouse for a bet, but I want to marry you for real, in front of our community, our family. He got down on one knee, pulling out a simple gold band. I can't afford diamonds. I can't give you the luxury you're used to, but I can give you love, loyalty, and a family that will always have your back. Will you marry me? Again? For real this time? Jameson, I love you, Cora. I love your determination, your secret softness, the way you've embraced our life. I love how you've become Destiny's mother in every way that matters. I love how you fight for what's right, even when it costs you everything. Say yes, Mommy Cora, Destiny shouted, bouncing with excitement. Yes, Cora said, laughing and crying simultaneously. Yes, of course, yes. The apartment erupted in cheers. Mrs. Rodriguez had ordained herself online just for this. DeAndre and Tamika, who'd arrived just in time, served as witnesses. As they exchanged vows in the tiny apartment, surrounded by their real family, the people who'd accepted them without question, Cora realized this was worth more than any company. I now pronounce you husband and wife, for real this time, Mrs. Rodriguez declared. Kiss her good, Jameson. He did, dipping her dramatically while everyone cheered, and Destiny threw flower petals she'd been hiding in her pockets. 8 months later, exactly 1 year from the original wedding, Cora walked into the boardroom for what should have been Pemberton's victory lap. Instead, she entered with confidence, Jameson by her side. "Gentlemen," she said coolly, "I believe you have some resignations to submit." "This is preposterous," Pemberton sputtered. "The whole marriage was a sham." "Was it?" Harrison Blake pulled out a folder. "Because I have here affidavits from 67 witnesses who've seen Mr. and Mrs. Thorne over the past year. Teachers, neighbors, community members, all testifying to the genuine nature of their relationship." "She's living in the Bronx," Chester Thornton protested. "The CEO of Harrington Industries in a walk-up apartment, and running the company better than ever," Isabella Chen pointed out. "Profits are up 18%. Our community outreach programs, spearheaded by Mrs. Thorne's involvement with her husband's center, have garnered national recognition. It's still a betrayal of everything Harrington Industries stands for," Pemberton insisted. "No," a voice from the doorway said. Everyone turned to see Vivian Harrington enter. "It's exactly what my father would have wanted." "Vivian?" Cora was shocked. "I've been wrong, Cordelia. I spent the past year watching you. You're happier than I've ever seen you. More importantly, you're the kind of leader this company needs. One who understands all of society, not just the privileged few." She turned to Pemberton. "You manipulated this situation, thinking you'd win either way. Either my daughter would refuse and lose the company, or she'd be miserable for a year. You never imagined she'd fall in love. This is ridiculous." "What's ridiculous," Vivian continued, "is that I have the security footage from your office where you explicitly stated your intention to destroy that uppity girl and install someone more manageable. That's conspiracy to defraud shareholders." Pemberton went pale. "You can't prove." "I can and I will, unless you honor your agreement and resign, all of you who conspired with him." One by one, 5 board members submitted their resignations. Pemberton was the last, his hands shaking with rage as he signed. "You'll regret this," he told Cora. "The only thing I regret," she replied, "is that it took losing a bet to find what I really won." After they left, Tamika popped champagne. "You did it. You saved the company and got the guy." "And the kid?" Destiny added, having been brought in for the celebration. She was wearing a t-shirt that said, "My mommy is a CEO," that Jameson had made for her. "Especially the kid," Cora agreed, hugging her daughter. That night, in their tiny apartment that Cora had refused to leave, despite now having full control of her fortune, the family of 3 celebrated with Chinese takeout and board games. "We could move, you know," Jameson said. "You don't have to prove anything anymore." "I'm not proving anything. I'm home. This is where we became a family. Why would I want to leave? Because there's more space elsewhere? Because Destiny needs her own room soon? Then we'll get a bigger place in the neighborhood. But we're not leaving our community. These people are our family." Jameson kissed her temple. "How did I get so lucky?" "You lost a bet," Cora grinned. "Or won one, depending on how you look at it." "Mommy Cora?" Destiny asked sleepily from where she was curled between them. "Are you going to give me a brother or sister?" The adults exchanged glances over her head. "Would you like that?" Cora asked carefully. "Yes. DeAndre's kids have siblings. I want one too." "We'll see, baby," Jameson said. But he was looking at Cora with something new in his eyes, hope for a future neither had imagined a year ago. 6 months after the board coup, Cora stood in their bathroom staring at 3 positive pregnancy tests. They'd been trying for 4 months, but somehow seeing the proof still shocked her. "Cora, you okay in there?" Jameson called through the door. She opened it, holding the tests. His eyes widened, then he whooped, picking her up and spinning her around in the tiny space. "We're having a baby?" "We're having a baby." They told Destiny that evening over her favorite dinner, homemade pizza where everyone made their own. "I'm going to be a big sister," she screamed so loud Mrs. Rodriguez knocked on the wall. "Sorry, Mrs. Rodriguez," Destiny called, then whispered, "I'm going to be a big sister." The pregnancy brought unexpected challenges. Some of Harrington Industries' more conservative shareholders expressed concern about the CEO's pregnancy with, as they delicately put it, a child who would be mixed race. Cora shut that down in a board meeting that became legend. "My child will be black and white, rich and rooted in community, heir to a fortune and heir to a legacy of service. They'll represent the future of America, diverse, complicated, and absolutely perfect. Anyone who has a problem with that can sell their shares now. No one sold. In fact, stock prices went up as younger investors, inspired by Cora's leadership and personal story, bought in. The community center threw her a baby shower that made her cry. People who had nothing gave handmade gifts, blankets, toys, clothes, each with a story. "This is worth more than anything from Tiffany's," she told Jameson, holding a quilt Mrs. Rodriguez had made from fabric representing both their cultures. "These people have adopted you completely," he said, amazed. "The Ice Queen of Wall Street is now the Princess of the Bronx." "I prefer Queen of the Bronx," she said, making him laugh. "How's this story hitting you so far? Tell us in the comments. If you're loving it, type 1. If not, type 0. We want to know what you think. The Harrington Thorne Community Center was the largest in New York, a state-of-the-art facility that served thousands of families. At its dedication, Cora stood with her family. Jameson, Destiny, now 12 and even more artistic, 4-year-old Josiah, and 2-year-old twins Maya and Malcolm. "This center," Cora said into the microphone, "exists because 5 years ago, a bitter man made a bet thinking he could humiliate me. Instead, he gave me the greatest gift of my life, my family. Pemberton, now disgraced and bankrupt after his various schemes were exposed, wasn't there to see what his manipulation had wrought. My husband taught me that wealth means nothing if you don't use it to lift others. My daughter Destiny taught me that love doesn't see color or class. My younger children are growing up in a world where their parents' love story, a white billionaire and a black community organizer, isn't a scandal, but an inspiration." She looked at Tamika, now president of Harrington Industries, while Cora served as CEO. At DeAndre and Shanice, whose catering business had grown with Cora's investment. At Mrs. Rodriguez, whose grandson was heading to college on the Thorne Harrington Scholarship. "People ask me if I regret the bet," Cora continued. "How can I regret the thing that brought me home?" That evening, in their brownstone in the Bronx, they'd eventually moved to a bigger place, but refused to leave the neighborhood. The family gathered for Sunday dinner, a tradition that now included dozens of extended family members. "Tell us the story again," Josiah demanded. "Which story?" Jameson asked, though he knew. How Mommy lost a bet and won everything. So they told it again. How a billionaire CEO was forced to marry a single dad. How she moved to the Bronx expecting to hate it. How she fell in love with a little girl who needed a mother and a man who saw past her money to her heart. "And they lived happily ever after?" Maya asked. "They lived happily," Cora corrected, pulling all her children close. The ever after part they're still writing. "With lots of kids and noise and love," Destiny added, now old enough to understand the full story. "So much love," Jameson agreed, kissing his wife. Outside, the Bronx hummed with life. Inside, a family that shouldn't exist, according to every social norm, proved that sometimes the best things come from the worst bets. Cordelia Harrington had lost a wager and been forced to marry Jameson Thorne. What happened next didn't just shock everyone. It changed everything. For them, for their community, for everyone who heard their story and thought, if they can make it work, love had won. Not the bet, not the money, not the company. Love. And in a brownstone in the Bronx, surrounded by the laughter of their children and the warmth of their community, Cora and Jameson Thorne knew they'd both won the only bet that really mattered, the bet on each other.